The dog and cat.
It
You
would
said
apply
that.
to
And chicken.
livestock. Yeah, super shit, it's roosters.
I want goats. Well, I'm just saying, something needs to happen.
I think we need to ask Manny his input on that and see what he thinks, because I don't see, the county ordinances basically doesn't, govern local animals that we wouldn't want in the corporate limits, so I don't know how Noblesville or any of the other communities that has adopted their ordinance keeps that from happening.
Or maybe we should have him come up at the next meeting. We
Well,
can ask him these questions ourselves.
that's my next thing. Manny can come to our next council meeting. Do we want him to come early and have executive session? 2? Or not? Because we can have Doug here with Manny for that matter.
I'd say yes, let's
So
don't,
Manny
let's
will
don't.
be at the next meeting at 7.
Yeah.
Do you want executive session at 6?
We have some things we need to discuss in executive session, yes.
Do we have-
I think we do.
Do we have a festival meeting?
And some of it may be carried over into the meeting, I don't know.
Well,
You know,
and
we talk
that-
about what we can in executive and then,
Exactly.
and then carry the rest over into the meeting.
And then I know that we probably
They'll
should
make
have a festival
decisions.
meeting, but we could always just incorporate our festival meeting in the regular meeting at 7.
Okay.
That sound favorable to everyone?
Sounds
Yes.
great.
Yes, we need to do something, so we need to get all parties together and make a decision.
We can discuss the legal ramifications in executive session, make the decision in the regular meeting. We can't make any decisions in executive session.
So that's gonna be at the next meeting?
Yep.
Of next month?
Yep.
We'll also be having our budget hearing, but that'll only take a minute. And that is all that I have to say.
Can I ask about the weeds and stuff here by the post office? Is there any way we can get,
Don't notice.
Okay.
Bruce said something to us.
but I mean, okay,
We gotta get paid back. I mean,
yeah,
I don't think people realize the amount of money we expend on these houses. I mean, seriously, I was looking at it because I asked Robin where all the money goes. We've made enough money to buy a new mower. I mean, I
If you
don't,
were being paid for it.
no, the money you collect from these properties has been more than enough to buy a new mower.
Over how many years?
The last 5 years, I mean, I told you the other day, I mean, we've done like probably $4,000 worth of ordinance mows this year. I mean, look at how many we're doing. We gotta recoup that money. I mean, yeah, if you guys want me to go do it for free, start up our labor and tear our equipment up, I mean, we gotta get paid for this stuff. But it is on the list to cut all that down and get rid of that stupid tiki cut bar. It's got
Yeah.
trees growing out of it.
before festival.
Yep, he's sending the letter out, which I know is gonna go nowhere and come back, but as soon as he gets it back, we'll go and cut everything down, and load it all up, clean it all up. A few people have picked them up, but we've been doing like 8 properties this year. I don't know why these people don't mow their yard.
Is it $100 a pop?
First one's $150, and then it's $100 a mow after that, and then if we have to do cleanup work and trash removal, it's $125 an hour for the backhoe, it's $65 an hour for the dump truck, it's $35 per man hour working on it, and then if we have to buy dumpsters, that's on top of that. And we've had some that toppled the $2,000 mark cleaning up the yard, not this year, but in the past. Yeah. We just hauled 2 dump truck loads away from the house over there on Walnut Street. Cleaning up all the trash out behind that, when it's for rent. They're back 110 North Walnut, right next to me.
Oh.
And the grass got like this tall on it. But
We'll move on to, old business. We talked at the last meeting about the PM, preventive maintenance work on those trucks. We need to ratify that tonight at this meeting. Need to approve that. I don't, we talked about it at the last meeting, and there was not a motion made or anything. So it's normally.
I make a motion to approve the PM on the truck.
All in favor?
Aye.
Jennifer, would you like to report on where we're at with Earth Festival? I know we haven't had a festival meeting, but if you could just give us a quick rundown where we're at.
Yeah, we are pretty much on track with everything as far as, windows go. There's only a few spots left, and, we're getting lots of calls every day, so, I'm confident that those will be full. As far as sponsors go, we are still getting, in sponsor money. IU Health from Tifton decided to sponsor this year, so we were excited about that. And she said that she was confident that next year that they could do more, so, we appreciate them stepping up. As far as, we've got the hospitality tents are ordered, kids zone straight away, ATMs taken care of, stage entertainments, settled. Food drive, we've talked with Nancy Chance, and we are gonna do that again this year, so everything's squared away for that. Food vendors are taken care of, and, the food vendor reports have been sent to the health department. We are going with 105, B105 again this year as far as the radio station goes, so that's taken care of. Over here on the Kane property, we are gonna have a couple of steam engines that will be set up over there to attract people, for the festival there. Let's see here. And I do wanna thank Jerry for coming up with the debts for the firehouse. We appreciate that, Jerry. Let's see, Christine Altman, is going to do the, public safety health awareness area this year as far as the sponsor goes, and, Mark Fairbrand is still gonna be involved again this year. So everything is just kinda on track. We're just still waiting on, a lot of sponsor money that, they said they wanna get in on it, so it's just a waiting game with them. So everything's pretty much working good.
Thank you.
Are they going to have parking down in Wallfield again this year? Or do you know?
Yes,
I'm not sure
they are.
Is it too early, Jerry, or any fundraisers for a festival that the fire department?
Well, I know Andy asked me to do the breakfast, but I just don't think I could
Yeah.
get the manpower together for
Yeah.
that. So maybe that's something we can look at next year.
Yay. I help.
There's not gonna be a breakfast?
All we gonna do, they just wanna park cars.
Can we think of anybody that wants to do a breakfast? Let's think about that.
Are there any 4-H groups or anything around here that might be interested in that?
Orange group, sure.
Old school groups?
Yeah. Put the word out.
Christian church or something like
The
that.
scouts did meetings
Well, that's
forever.
right, they do that. That's right, they do.
See what we can come up with. Hopefully get some on. I know the vendors will appreciate that. Do that for them.
Well, if we had younger members in our group, I might volunteer us, but they're all, most of them are in their 70s and 80s. I don't think I could get them up there to do that.
That's a big task. It's not easy.
It's the prep work, the preparing it that takes the time. And, the breakfast itself doesn't last that long. It's just all the work that goes into prep it for it. Sure.
business, do we wanna discuss the, contract tonight with Orange Baseball? You guys had a chance to look that over?
Did you wanna talk to with Manning? I just thought that's why we were waiting for Manning, but if we're not, yay, go ahead. You look like you have something to say, Mr. Pfeiffer.
Well, I don't have anything to say about it. I mean, I've already give everybody my recommendation 3-4 months ago, and, it kinda got blown off and put on the back burner, and then Manny comes out and comes up with some different ideas twice now, and we're still, sitting here spinning our wheels doing nothing. So, like I said, I've tried to explain to everybody my point of view and what I see going on down there, and apparently that's not what everybody else sees, or is their concerns, so.
So he didn't put in the contract the changes that you wanted?
Not hardly anything. He even shortened the contract from what it was. There's a couple things in there that he addressed that I was concerned about, but, like I said, you can go down at that ball field and look at the situation and the things that's going on down there. And they're in breach of contract in about every line item on that thing almost. And the dugouts, they destroyed our property by ripping the dugouts apart and still haven't put them together. And they've had 2 seasons where the dugouts are still without siding on them. The ones that they blocked up are not in compliance, as far as our building codes, and they've been told, and they won't do nothing. They cut our batting cage down without getting approval, which is a violation of the contract. And I had a guy that was wanting to buy that, but he asked me about it, where it went, whenever he seen it was gone. They went off and left the thing, hacked it off and left a liability in my book with the pipe sticking out of the ground by a foot, and all the kids out there climbing around and playing on it. They keep trashing the place. We spent tons of our money and our manpower down there cleaning up after them, and, they had it straightened up down there, and them guys went and piled a bunch of junk out behind that building, out of sight, out of mind, and they had to haul it off again, so it's, you're talking about cleaning up other properties, and here we're letting them use that for free, and we're down there hauling stuff off at the Ball Diamond. And, they don't seem to care, and they ruined our backstop by neglect of their own. They put that banner up there with the guy knowing that they didn't have enough wind holes in it, and here we are without a backstop, basically, if they pull out, so, and those backstops are not cheap. And it's just one thing after another down there that, Andy and them guys went down there and they cleaned up all their dirt and their mess and everything, leveled out that field and stuff where they had all them piles of dirt, and then they went out and cleaned the field and brought all the brick dust and stuff off the field and threw it right out in their dirt where they just cleaned it and leveled it. It's just, and, I'm just.
How do we address them? I mean, do we
Well,
penalize them?
force the contract on them. They signed it. They're the ones who agreed to do all this, and then they ain't doing anything that they agreed to do. And then my understanding is they're charging $600 per kid. Got 10 to 15 kids per team, and there's 10 teams or better. Over $60-some thousand they're getting a year out of sign up down there, and they're not putting no money back. The stuff they're putting in down there is stuff is donated. I just kind of feel like this contract's just about like the fire territory contract. We didn't do nothing about it, and we just let them do whatever they wanted, and we ended up getting a shaft, and that's what I feel we're going to happen on this.
Well, I went down there and looked at it, and there's a lot of safety things down there I'm concerned with. There's nails sticking through the, where the kids sit, I don't know what you call them.
Oh, the dugout.
Dugouts. All the kid's gotta do is jump up high and got a nail right in his head. And the backstop is, as far as I'm concerned, it's a safety factor. But it's my impression, the last meeting we had, that we were gonna have a meeting with Manny to discuss this and tell him what we think is wrong, how we can correct it, and legally, and also the territory at the same time. And then I understand Manny couldn't make the meeting, so I don't know. I know I've been looking down there, and there is a lot of things down there that's things have changed. When they first started going down, opened up the Ball Diamond, I was all for it, and I was glad to see it go, and I still am. I still want it to go. The town needs it. But there's a right way and a wrong way to do things. And I've come to see now that there's a lot of things that are wrong down there that need to be addressed.
Well, my whole point is, don't tell me
You're
and
right.
agree you're gonna do something and put it in writing in a
That's
contract
true.
and then don't follow through with it.
That's
And that's
true.
what's happening to us, and everything we get involved with, it seems that's the way it goes, and then we sit back and let it. And I totally disagree with it. And, you know, I put the changes in there, you know, we're letting them have it for free, they're making money off of it. Who knows where they're putting their money or what they're banking their money for. My thoughts are probably to find a place down in Carmore Fishers down the road after they bank up enough money out for using this field. I don't know. But, you know, we never did get in a contract that anything they install down there stays the property of the town. So they could come in and they could take those, them nice scoreboards out that was donated, my understanding, from IU or whoever it was. And whatever they put in, they can take with them, because we have never done anything to the contract. And that was one of the things that I asked 4 months ago to be in there, and like I said, nothing's ever been done with it. So we're still running on the same contract that Manny told me wasn't even a valid contract, because they didn't have their official name on it. He sat up here and told me that back in the kitchen, then he turns in a meeting and said that that was not correct, it was a valid contract. So, you know, and I sure don't appreciate that coming from our attorney when we're asking for legal advice from him.
Well, I thought that's what some of the issues we were going to discuss with him, to get this contract straightened out.
Do we need to have a little session of ourselves before we meet with Manny this next meeting, get the contract exactly the way we want it before we see him, so we can move on this?
Yeah, you can do that. You can do that.
So that when we see him next
Yeah.
meeting, we are prepared with a contract that
You
we
can
are all,
do it before then, and you can email it to Manny and say, this is, you know, this is what we are looking for in the contract.
okay. Is there a date between now and the next festival that we could all,
The next meeting?
yeah, before the next meeting? That we can get with the contract the way it is and the way we want, and get it finally hammered out.
Well, how would you do that, John, if you notify Orange and say, you're in violation of this, and you're in violation of that, and we're all in agreement that they're in violation, okay? What do? Give them an X amount of time to rectify it?
It says right in the contract that we can, or we can, depending on what the breach of contract is, we can terminate the contract immediately. It's in the contract. I mean, we've got it covered in the original contract that Manny says is good, and then he says it isn't any good, so it just depends on how you wanna take it.
Well,
But, you
and
know.
do we want to force the hand like that? I mean,
Well, I do.
I think we need to meet with Orange.
I do too.
Okay. but we need to get our ducks in a row with a contract that we are happy with, and then meet
I
with
mean,
them.
we have a contract that we signed
Right,
that is binding. As of today, nothing's been changed.
right.
That contract is binding
Okay.
today. And if we have issues with Orange, which I know we do, they need to know that. And they need to know what those specific issues are.
Okay.
And we need to tell them, you've got X amount of time to correct these, and if not, you're in jeopardy
Yeah,
of your contract not being renewed.
right.
Well-
And put it that simple.
Official, yeah, it needs to be official.
Well, I did that, if you recall. I told Steve over the phone that that's the reason he came up here with his $100,000 presentation to the council after me explaining to him the issues that were down there, that he was about in tears and he couldn't believe I was telling him all this and all that. I told him exactly what the problems was, and he didn't like it a bit, you know, and then what does he do? Nothing. He didn't address anything that I had to tell him, that I brought up. I was right straightforward with him. I didn't beat around the bush. I told him everything that I found and I seen that was going on down there, and, you know, see, there's still a lot of it that I told him that still hasn't been corrected.
Manny could always send him a letter too with deadlines.
You know, I just wanna, you know, if we're gonna sit here as a board and we're gonna have a contract that states specific things in there, and it's a breach of contract, if you don't do this, a breach of contract, if you don't do that, I think we need to enforce it, and we need to follow the contract, and they need to follow it. I'm not asking for anything other than what was in here and what they agreed on. They're the ones who come up here and said they would do all this stuff that's in here. That's all I'm asking, for them to keep their word. We're keeping ours. We ain't raised the fees. We ain't tried to boom them out. We went down and put stone there. We spent a bunch of money sending our,
$7,000 we've spent down there.
and we spent a bunch more, you know, now the drain, I understand they ain't working in the concession stand. and bathroom doesn't work in there, and it's probably because they've driven the trucks over this tile, it's shallow, and busted tile down, who knows? And, you know, but who knows? Nobody even knows about that, and Rick Pfeiffer went down there and fixed all the plumbing before they took it over, and they agreed to keep it winterized. Andy went down and done some things down there, and then next summer, they turned it on in the spring, then the plumbing's all blown to pieces. Andy goes back down there and fixes it again. That's in the contract that they're supposed to do, and they're not doing any of it.
And those are things we need to
Well, I'll tell
definitely
you,
address.
They're leaving the water run down there on that
There you go.
outside spigot, and the kids going down there to turn on, Andy's told them to keep it shut off inside the building, they're leaving the outside spigot turned on, and then the kids, Andy's went down there and found it on 2 or 3 times,
I went down there the other day, and that hose was on.
and they're not paying a water bill.
And I'm telling you, I don't know what the previous read was, but I mean, there were tens of thousands of gallons of water leaked out onto that ground. And I went in that storage room, they got a jam full of stuff, but I drug stuff out of the way to get back in there and shut it off. But, I mean, I tell them next time that water's on down there, they should start, I think they ought to start paying a water bill anyways myself.
Yeah,
Well, they were told to pay utilities.
Right, but we've never charged a water bill at the Ball Diamond. But,
there's a meter down there though.
yeah, it's not a radio read, it's manual, because it's a 1-inch meter, and we didn't change it. It was gonna be, it's like a $500 meter if we put it on radio. So we just left it manual read meter.
No?
But
Well, do we have a list of concerns currently with that?
I haven't made up one, I just, you know, every time I go down there, there's something different, and, you know, the list just keeps going on and on and on, and I don't have a list per se still, but, you know, now we're without a batting cage, and they were gonna put this batting cage in, and we give them options to put it out along the front or whatever, and sit out in center field, but they go and cut ours down after the fact. We explained to them we don't want it out there, and then now we don't even have a batting cage. You know, so. You know, I feel like they come up here and tell us what they think we wanna hear, and they just go off and do whatever they want.
And
That's the way I see it, and I don't appreciate it, you know, I mean, we're supposed to be up here doing what's best for the community, and doing what's best for the community is making them follow their agreement and fixing that up. They're getting it used for free. Like I said, if they're charging $600 a kid, they're bringing in $60,000 or better. I'm saying better than that, cause I'm saying, banking that on like 10 kids per 10 teams, 60 grand. And most teams have 12 to 15 kids for their substitutes. So it's probably a hell of a lot more money than that, and they can't even do what they promised us they would do.
Well, being a travel team, I know that they pay a lot of traveling costs to different places where they play. I also know that they
And that
they
works in
give the
reverse too.
kids 2 full sets of uniforms, pants, shirts, hats, socks. But yeah, I agree. They need to
And-
work on the field.
My oldest daughter played travel softball for 7, 8 years, and it was right at $800 to $1,000 a year.
that's what I said.
I've heard $1,000,
I've heard
but then I've heard 600, then I heard 1,000. You know, and that works in reverse too, Jody, like you're saying, if they pay a lot more at some of the places they pay, so those places that are coming to pay here are paying them a lot more too.
Yeah.
So it works both directions there, so they're collecting the big bucks too. when they're
Everywhere
having
you go play, you pay a tournament fee.
Mhm.
And then if
You
they're
know, I
coming
think
here
we need to
playing,
bring-
they're paying here too.
We need to bring Steve, he evidently represents Orange, the only guy I ever seen come up here,
Steve
Steve, or
and the board.
whoever, the board,
I'd
whatever.
like to see a couple
But
of
he
board
needs to be
members.
told that, as far as I'm concerned, there's safety issues up there that needs fixed, not next week, not 2 games next, but now. Safety feature factors need to be fixed now. And if you can't get them fixed now, then as far as I'm concerned, you know, you can't play ball until they are fixed. And then we can discuss the other things that poor quality workmanship and things like that. Bring it all out, tell it just the way it is, and then just force him to say, you know, either you fix it or you're out. It's as simple as that.
Is there anything in the contract that says they have to pay for any maintenance we do?
No.
Then I think
Well,
We're not-
that
we're-
it,
Here's the thing, we're not supposed to do any maintenance.
Yeah.
What we agreed to do was stone the lot.
Right, but if we're doing maintenance out there, if you guys are gonna do a new contract, you need to have something in there that says, if we have to go out there and do maintenance and clean up after them, after we've given them notice, then they have to pay a fine or pay whatever
Pay the
the
towing
towing rate
rate.
is, or,
I personally think it ought to be in there that if they don't fulfill the contract and maintain the property according to what they say, it's a breach of contract and they're done. If we go out there to clean it up, it should be because they're out. We shouldn't keep going out there picking up after them and cleaning up after them. I mean, you own a piece of property and you rent it to somebody and they don't follow what the landlord's requirements are, they're out. And that's the same thing we are.
Yeah, they come up here and thinking, oh, Atlanta's not gonna do anything about it, they're just a little podunk town that could care less and come and go when, on weekends, but they don't care.
And I'm not asking any more than what they promised us. That's all I'm
I
asking them
thought
to
these were
do.
the things we were gonna tell Manning at the meeting. I'm having a lot of
That's why I
difficulty even
think
getting
we
around
should.
seeing Manning. I don't know, there's always something
Yeah.
going on.
That's why Manning is coming to the,
Let's
before
bring,
the next
let's-
meeting.
let's
well, they were
bring it
also
up to-
supposed to do the Cicero, ball fields this year. And they didn't even start on them.
Who?
Cause Brian Swart told me that.
Who?
Okay, thanks, Andy.
Yeah, your neighbor.
Fix it for him, will you? He keeps
No.
bugging me. He's wanting me to come over and help him do it.
I told him you're the expert. I don't know anything about it.
I don't know anything about this Atlanta plumbing. Can't even fix my own leaks at home. But I'd say, since we're gonna have the executive session at 6, we discuss this with Manny being here.
I agree.
Before the next meeting. Just have this on the agenda too. And, maybe by then everybody can
Get a
go out
message out
and
to
we can
Orange.
look at it, or we can make a list of what,
Yeah.
and then share a list of the things that we all aware of and know and, discuss it. Like I said, I'm not trying to get them out of here. I just want, when somebody tells me they're gonna do something, I expect them to do it. I'm not gonna come and tell you I'll do something and then not follow through with what I say. Not unless there's a damn good reason that I don't. And I feel that that's the way anybody ought to do it, especially when we're letting them have that place for free.
And I do know that 2 weekends ago, I was driving by the ball fields, and there was a semi that had turned around in the parking lot. I actually stopped, got out and said, "Excuse me, sir, do you see the sign?" They said, "My advice is leave."
Mm-hmm.
So he did.
Hopefully when the bids get up, that will eliminate.
Right.
Eliminate that, hopefully.
But it just bugged me because we've got the signs out there. It's like, I know you know how to read because you've got all these instruments in your truck.
See you later.
A gate will help that, right?
See you
Yeah.
later.
Thank goodness, but yeah, I noticed that 2 weekends ago.
So we wanna talk to Manning before we, ask Steve to come up?
I think, yeah,
Be a
I think
good
we
thing.
need to get our list together.
And he's planning on being here, he's already told me that he could be here, cause I said,
Okay.
if I asked him, can you be here, he said yes.
Well,
Yeah.
that'll just be one of the things for our executive meeting before.
Johnny, do you want copies of the pictures I have, or have you already taken pictures of that down there?
I haven't taken any pictures. I just
That'd be
stop
good,
by and
Neil.
look at things. But if you have some, that would be helpful that, we can share with Manny and Steve. If we end up
Right.
having a meeting with them, we can show what's been taken and, and I appreciate you guys going out there looking too. So we're having the residents' concerns and input on it too. It's not just us.
That helps us.
It affects, it's for the community.
And we worked hard to get that down there, didn't we?
Picked up a lot of trash at
Yes.
at the pork festival, didn't it?
Yes. There's a lot of things that happen to get that down there.
Sure.
I like to bring up, not to go out fast, but the benches. I already put in my money for sponsor a bench, and they were supposed to be, the deadline was supposed to be today.
I haven't paid mine yet, Ron, but I'm getting it.
I paid mine yet either, but put my name in for one, so.
What'd you say, I'm sorry?
I said I haven't paid you yet, right, but I I knew the deadline was today.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, I think there's a couple other people I need to touch base with too, but, yeah, it's gonna be happening.
And then do we wanna talk about how many benches that we wanna purchase as a town?
Well, I think what we, me and Pam and Jody kinda talked about before the meeting, I think we need to ask the people that are donating them, are you okay with sponsoring a bench in the gazebo? Or is there a certain area where you want your bench? Because I feel like like Steve and Liz will probably want their bench in front of their building.
Sure.
But like Jody says, she's fine with sponsoring one in the gazebo. So I think we need to get that tally first and then figure out how many we need to make up to fill the gazebo.
How many benches were we looking to put on Main Street outside the gazebo? Where are
We
they
hadn't really
located?
talked about that. Andy said we need 9 in the gazebo.
Yeah, that's what number I seen, and I didn't know how many
But
he
we
had
didn't,
thought
he
or
didn't really do a
do up
tally
streets.
for Main Street. But one thing I will tell you, that, in this, design, that, let me save this before I lose it. The stuff that's going on with the grant for the park, one of the things that Brenda, and I thought this was a really good idea, was, had asked them to incorporate into the landscaping our sit walls. So concrete,
So we really want,
plenty, lots of places to sit like that, so. Anyway,
I kinda wanted mine on Main Street here someplace. I think we need something to approach Atlanta as a inviting place. You have people that come, especially during festival or to the trains, they can't always walk without sitting down someplace, so. I mean, there's nothing.
yeah, and that's fine, I mean, to me, it's council decision, but I think that's fair, if you're paying that much for a bench, and you have a place you want it, that's,
Why don't we determine how many we want on Main Street and where we want them located? And then, since today was the deadline, whatever we need total, say 15 or whatever we're short sponsor, we purchase with the town funds to make up the difference. It's not the town buying. Town's gotta buy those too, even trading that plastic stuff in, they still gotta pay for those too.
yeah, it's not
So,
gonna be cheap.
yeah, it's not free, and I don't know what they are.
Do we have to have 9 benches in the gazebo to start out with?
I don't
mean,
know. I don't think so.
7, didn't he?
Well, and then there were 2 as you approach the gazebo, so, we don't
You-
have to have
You never
9.
see that many people in that thing
Yeah.
sitting at one
Other
time,
than
so.
the kids.
Yeah, the kids hanging out
That'll be a
destroying them.
playground.
Yeah.
You get them benches.
How damageable are
They'll
those?
make them toes up.
How much damage can the kids do to those?
I don't know, I think they're pretty indestructible, aren't
Okay.
they?
Unless they take something and carve into them, a knife or something, be about the only thing, cause they're hard, they're like a hardened
We've got
plastic.
we've got 2 down at school.
Yeah, the X-ray that was on the movie screen. Wow. Call me.
What if we just go with 4 to 5 in the gazebo
Yeah.
instead of 9?
Yeah,
Cut that about
4
in
on
half.
Main Street.
4 in the gazebo, 4 on Main Street.
yeah, without the caps, they're $375, with the caps, they were $220.
And I'm gonna say this, Neela, how many bags of caps did you
Oh,
bring?
God, I have no idea.
She needs to be charged for one with the caps.
No, that's fine. I just wish we were still saving them. I think it's
You know
gonna,
what I'm saying?
I still save caps. I
I
just
do too. I still
always
have
save
some
them,
at
and
the
then
house.
whoever needs them, I'll donate them.
Well, we'll get to buy,
Oh, I see what
we'll
you're
get
saying.
to buy a
I see what
few.
you're saying.
A few are gonna be cheaper
Mhm.
because of the caps that we're gonna take down.
Yeah.
And I think hers ought to be one of them. And Roberta, are you buying one?
No, not
Okay.
yet.
Okay. I know Neela brought a ton of plastic. About every meeting. So would someone like to make a motion for that one?
Are you gonna do engraving on yours, Neil?
I'll do 2 then on it.
Motion.
So you'll do 2 then? Wow.
I'll make a motion that we go with a total of 8 benches.
Okay.
And whatever's not sponsored, the town buys the rest, pays for the rest.
Okay,
We get 8 total.
okay. I hear a second.
I'll second.
Oh,
All in favor?
Aye.
go ahead. Aye.
Jinx.
Pinch poke, you owe me Coke.
Put me down for one, too. Engraved.
I think Joy's gonna do one, so. I might,
All right, any other old business tonight? We'll move on to new business. Is there any new business this evening? All right, do I hear a
I
motion?
make a motion to sign the claims and adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.